Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Every Month Med. We're so excited for this month's episode where we are going to focus on back to school. Both Ishan and I are going to be seniors this year, and we're so excited for the year to start. We sat down with some of our friends to talk about going back to school, especially with coming out of a pandemic and how they feel about it. We hope this episode was insightful and good luck to everyone going back to school. So we're here with our friend Kayla.
So up next is Eric Lee.
So now we're joined with our friend Sanjana.
Now joining us is our friend Pia. How do you feel about going back to school? Are you nervous, excited, scared? What are your feelings?
I'm really excited just to be back in school with all my friends and having actual human-to-human interaction and conversations.
Yeah, I 100% agree, especially because we're seniors. It's going to be a lot of fun to be with our friends one last time. I know I can't wait to see both of you back at school.
I know. It's this past junior year, it was difficult because for me especially, it was virtual, then in person, then virtual again, then in person, and then finally everyone together. So for sure, and then I knew that when I was in person, I didn't see a lot of my friends who were on Zoom, and we had opposite days. So I'm going to really treasure that interaction that I have with everyone this year.
Definitely. And it's going to be nice to return to a sense of normalcy. I feel like
a routine like life.
Exactly. Yeah.
Overall, I'm really excited. It's nice to see everyone, all your classmates and your friends after an entire year, being quarantined. But I think it's also very exciting because we're all seniors now. So, senior benefits and everything. So, pretty excited about it.
That's good to hear. I'm super excited too. I think especially because it's senior year.
Yeah, unlike the other classes, we kind of get a normal-ish senior year with
Yeah.
hopefully we'll have prom and graduation. So it'll be a fun year for sure.
Okay, so our next question is, what are you looking forward to most about being back at school after being home or kind of in and out of school over the past year and a half?
I definitely got to interact more with my teachers while I was in person. So freshman, sophomore year, I think I definitely talked more to my teachers, and then that kind of stopped during COVID, with an exception of a few that I were close with because of extracurriculars. So I'm just happy to be able to connect with teachers again, and then students as well, of course.
I think that's a really good point. I feel like a lot of people have been focusing in on that connection with teachers, especially in high school. It's super important. And I think that's something that we did see lack during the pandemic. So I think going back and forming those connections is not only better, it's not only better to be physically in the classroom, but it also creates a better and learning environment, at least for me. I feel like. So,
yeah.
And that teacher-student relationship is so crucial, especially during high school and even through college. That's the way you can ask for help when you don't understand something, or just discuss other things that you're so interested in further to get further opinions from teachers. So for sure.
Yeah.
I think I'm really looking forward to just talking with actual people rather than having breakout rooms when we have different teams, or when teachers put us in different groups. Instead of having just a breakout group, I like being in person and being in the classroom and talking with everyone, having a class discussion without having to raise your virtual hand. You can raise your actual hand. And I think what I'm looking forward least, probably just going there every single day. The first month is gonna be exciting, but the second, third month, it's gonna be hard waking up every day, especially after being tired from extracurriculars and then homework.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely did not think about the virtual stuff that we had to go through, like the raising hands, the awkwardness in the breakout rooms. For sure, that's something I'm definitely not gonna miss about virtual school.
I was going to say the same thing about the virtual stuff. We didn't really think about that or talk about it before. And I feel there's definitely that sense of awkwardness, in a breakout room. If you don't know the people you're with, it's no one wants to be the first to talk. But when you're face to face, it's easy. It's easy. You can't just turn your camera off. So it's easier to talk to people and kind of get a sense of what people are feeling and kind of initiate conversation as opposed to online.
Yeah.
Okay, so our next question is, recently, Governor Phil Murphy announced that masks will be required at the beginning of this upcoming school year. How do you feel about having to comply with this while at school?
To be honest, I never really had a problem with masks. You know, I see so many benefits of having them, and there's no like detrimental effect that can happen by wearing a mask. And honestly, I think I'm just very grateful to be back in school and to be in person. And honestly, wearing a mask isn't going to affect me. And overall, we're just going to be safer. So there's no harm in wearing a mask at school.
I completely
I
agree.
agree.
I definitely think that masks are keeping us safer, and there's no harm in wearing it. And like a lot of people have gotten used to just seeing the eyes now, reading people from the eyes, and now I feel like having masks in school will be like safer for us, but also might be a distraction for the like little kids who maybe like someone else's masks and want to switch with them or something like that. Obviously, you have to share germs, but it'll be fun, but hopefully not a distraction for a lot of kids.
I agree. I think it's like a good precautionary measure, especially because everybody's so eager to be back at school. We don't want anything to like deter having school be open. So I think having masks is like a good precautionary measure.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be surprised if he didn't make them mandatory in school.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I'm okay with it. I know it does get pretty stuffy having to wear a mask all the time, but I guess I'd rather be safe than not wear one. And yeah, I think it's reasonable given that with the Delta variant and everything going on. So yeah, I mean, I'm not super excited, but I'm like fine with it.
Yeah, I agree. I think we were
Yeah,
talking about before. It's definitely like for precautionary sake, like we don't want anything to deter schools opening. So I think like as a precautionary measure, it's kind of important to have.
Yeah.
yeah, I completely agree. And it's just like it's better be safe than sorry, to try. I mean, I'd prefer to wear masks and be open all year rather than not wear masks. Someone gets COVID, there'd be a COVID outbreak and our senior year cut short. I mean, not just for us, our senior year, but also like juniors, sophomores, and freshmen. Like high school is such a pivotal time in our lives, like it's a time where we grow, we make hopefully lifelong friends, and you really live some of your best moments in high school. So, how do you feel about virtual school slowly becoming obsolete, at least like where we are in New Jersey?
Um, I think overall it is a good thing that virtual school is slowly going, just because I think that in-person instruction is always more effective. Um, I do think for if the pandemic was to get worse, having it to come back again wouldn't be a bad thing because at least people know how it works by now.
Uh, would you feel more comfortable having it as an option?
Oh, I don't know. I wouldn't mind having it as a second option in case things got worse again.
I think it would be better if online school is an option, just because there are some kids who are still concerned about the virus. And then, of course, there are other high risk groups. So I think it's good to have that option, even if you're vaccinated. Definitely, it was not as effective as in person learning for many obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But I think it's still a nice option to have for just for safety and just for being considerate of people who might need that option.
I think also peace of mind, like we were kind of talking about before, in case someone gets COVID or someone in your family gets COVID, and you need to quarantine, not being able to go to school is would be really stressful for when you have to come back and make up all that work. And two,
Yeah.
it's nice to like have that distraction, God forbid, like something happens and you need it, instead of just being like stuck in the house all day and having nothing to do.
I was
Yep.
saying this earlier. Like it's so hard to make up like when we go away for 2 days, like 2 days worth of work. I can't imagine
Yeah.
weeks worth of work. Like that's got to be a lot. And like you were saying, like people, high risk groups are like scared to come back in school. Like people who get kidney transplants or heart transplants, they're already getting their booster shots, from what I've been hearing. So for them, they feel a little safer, but still, there's a huge risk of them getting COVID and then having issues with the transplanted organ. So for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've also been hearing that local education agencies in New Jersey have recommended that social distancing policies be followed in schools. Also, do you think that social distancing should be implemented or required by the government?
I think I think social distancing policies would definitely be beneficial. I mean, I think like mostly we followed them last year, even when we started opening in person, and that wasn't that much of a problem. I also think that like it would be very wise to have like capacity limits in areas where like a lot of students have to be together, like for example during lunch.
Mhm.
In Mountain Lakes High School, I don't know how that's going to work because like you can't crowd everybody into the cafeteria at once.
Yeah.
Like first of all, there's not enough room, and then second of all, that's like massive super spreader event. So yeah, I think as long as we plan the social distancing requirements very well and like pinpoint exactly what the guidelines are instead of like just some ambiguous like haze of policy, then I think it's a good thing to have social distancing regulations.
Yeah, we completely agree. It's just like, well, we were talking about this earlier. Like, it's hard to implement it in the
Implement.
hallway with like groups of people. Like, that's how we're used to walking in groups. So, like, it'd be hard to implement, but I definitely feel like there should be some sort of like implementation. Like, as you said during lunch, like, that's one way we can prevent like COVID from spreading, which is like eating in separate rooms or like figuring out ways to like put people in cohorts of like for lunches so that way you understand like where, if there is a spread of the virus, where it's coming from.
Yeah, there's some guidelines at least.
Totally. And it's also like another factor is like holding not only teachers accountable for like making sure everybody's following it, but students accountable as well. Because if there's like no teachers in the hallway to implement these different policies, people need to like know what they're supposed to do. So it's also like informing students about like the precautions that need to be taken while at school.
Mhm.
I think it should still be implemented in schools only because COVID is not completely gone. And like I said previously, there's a new strand, Delta variant, and I'm pretty sure in the coming days, more and more cases are going to arise because of the Delta variant. So if schools mandate that law requiring social distance, it's just going to be, it's going to be better for children's safeties.
Thank you for watching this episode. As always, we hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please give a like and subscribe to our channel. And if you have any other ideas about what we should do about future episodes, do give us a comment or email us. Our email will be down in the description below. Also, remember to check out our website and follow us on Instagram. Bye, guys.
Bye.